Einstein was always a dreamer, not just in the usual way. His mind wasn't filled with fleeting fantasies or passing whims. No, his thoughts were vast, stretching beyond the stars, drifting through the cosmos, tangled in the mysteries of space, dimensions, and the unknown. While most people found space intriguing, to Einstein, it was an obsession. He devoured every book he could find on multiverses and alternate realities, immersing himself in the theories of great minds. One quote, in particular, never left his mind. Michio Kaku once said, "Think of your brain as a radio and all the multiverses as different frequencies. Our brain is currently tuned to the frequency of this universe, which is why, even though others might exist right next to us, we don't perceive them." That idea haunted Einstein. What if it was possible to shift frequencies, to catch the signal of an alternate universe and step into it? His fascination with the concept seeped into his subconscious, filling his dreams with vivid visions of space, alien landscapes, and otherworldly possibilities. It was during one of these obsessions that he stumbled upon lucid dreaming, the art of controlling one's dreams. The idea excited him. If he could master it, perhaps he could unlock something deeper, something real. Night after night he practiced, but success remained elusive. One lazy afternoon, as Einstein lay on a cot beneath the shade of a massive tree on his farm, sleep crept up on him. In his dream, he found himself sitting in his room, everything seemingly normal, until he noticed something off. The little shop outside his window was gone. The old neem tree outside swayed in a wind he couldn't feel. A chill ran down his spine. He was lucid dreaming. His heart pounded. He reached into his pocket, pulling out his phone. Its screen glitched and distorted, confirming what he already knew. He was finally awake within his dream, something he had been striving for. He needed to stay calm. Excitement could wake him up, but the urge to test his newfound power was too strong. He turned to the neem tree outside his window and wished for it to disappear, and in an instant, it was gone. A rush of adrenaline coursed through him. I just changed reality?" he whispered to himself in awe. Before he could explore further, the distant rumble of a tractor jolted him awake. He sat up, disoriented, his mind still trapped between the dream and reality. It was just a dream, right? But the feeling, the thrill, was unlike anything he had ever experienced. The entire day, he couldn't shake it off. That night, he forced himself to sleep early, desperate to lucid dream again. But reality, as always, was stubborn. He woke up in the middle of the night, frustrated, staring at the stars. "Of course, I couldn't realize I was dreaming," he muttered. "It's way harder than I imagined. But at least I know it's possible." A newfound determination took hold of him. As exhaustion claimed him, he slipped back into sleep, only to wake up in his room once more. This time, he knew almost immediately. The digital clock on his wall was glitching. He noticed the color of his walls, a detail that had always irritated him. If this was his dream, he would change it. And so he did. The entire night, he reshaped his surroundings, molding his room into a vision of perfection before waking up the next morning, satisfied. Yawning, he climbed down from the rooftop where he had been sleeping and headed towards his room. But as he opened the door, he froze. His room was exactly how he had redesigned it in his dream. Panic set in. He grabbed his phone. Normal. He looked at his hands. Solid. He willed the clock on the wall to disappear. Nothing. This isn't a dream," he murmured, his mind racing. Then how? Einstein spent the entire day scouring the internet, searching for any account of something similar. But all he found were theories, nothing concrete. His emotions wavered between awe and fear. He had unknowingly shifted realities. The implications were terrifying. If he could do this, what else was possible? What if he lost control? To prevent that, he set some rules. Changes must be intentional. No random shifts. Only small, controlled changes work without side effects. Memories remain intact, and he is the only one aware of the shifts. At first, he used his ability for minor conveniences, moving his bicycle closer to the door, ensuring the weather was always pleasant. But greed is a dangerous thing. It starts small, creeping in unnoticed. A single thought planted itself in his mind. What if I had cleared the entrance exam for my dream university? Years ago, he, Bohr, and Mileva had all planned to attend the Trent University. But Einstein's family situation had forced him to stay behind while the others moved forward. He had buried the disappointment, but now he had a way to change it. At first, he resisted. The consequences were unknown, irreversible. But then, one afternoon, he ran into Mileva. She was leaving for an exchange program in Europe. Worse, she and Bohr were dating. The news hit him like a gut punch. A mix of jealousy, regret, and inferiority coursed through him. He had always thought of himself as someone with potential, but at that moment, he felt small. He wasn't where he was supposed to be. That night, he closed his eyes, and when he woke up, an acceptance letter from his dream university lay beside his pillow, but something was wrong. One another thing that Einstein had not noticed amid excitement was that he had not just changed reality, but also moved back the time. He woke up 2 years ago when he had just given the test, along with Mileva and Bohr. When he checked his phone, the date read 2 years earlier. He had not just changed realities. Panic surged through him. What have I done? But fear soon turned to excitement. This was his second chance. He embraced his new life, enjoying every moment. He was going to the university he had always wanted to attend and spending time with friends he always wanted to be with. But that was still not enough. And soon, the fear of losing Mileva to Bohr, yet again, took over him before he knew it. After making such a big reality shift, he had subconsciously gained a lot of confidence, and this time, he wouldn't have to convince himself hard to switch into a reality where he was dating Mileva. The next morning, his phone rang, Mileva's name flashing on the screen. A smirk appeared on his face. The feeling of power, of control, took hold of him. He could shape reality however he pleased, but power has a price. As he walked downstairs, something felt off. The house was messier. Dust covered the picture frames on the walls. His mother, a cleanliness freak, would never allow this. A growing dread filled his chest as he looked around for the family portrait. It was missing. His voice trembled. "Mom?" No response. He ran to his parents' room, only to find his father sitting alone, reading the newspaper. "Where's Mom?" he asked his father with a worried expression. His father's confused expression sent a cold chill through Einstein's veins. His parents were divorced in this reality, a consequence he had never foreseen. Panic gripped him. He had to undo this. Einstein spent the entire day locked up in his room and couldn't bring himself to bear the weight of the reality he had made. One last shift. Just one. He collapsed into bed that night, desperate to dream. But he didn't. Night after night, no dreams came. The power was gone. His worst nightmare came true when a week passed, and he hadn't dreamt a single night. Einstein falls into despair and doesn't know what to do anymore. No matter what he tried, nothing seemed to work. If this wasn't enough, one evening as Einstein was coming back home from the evening class, he noticed Mileva and Bohr in a cafe. But the way Mileva touched Bohr felt different. Einstein tried his best to suppress the thoughts that were arising in his head, and once again tried running away from reality and shoving him inside his room. A week later, Mileva broke up with him. He was devastated. Everything he had worked for, even sacrificed his parents' love for, had disappeared. The reality he had thought was just perfect, with no sadness, turned out to be his worst nightmare. Einstein refused to leave his room and ended up failing the exams and getting suspended from the university. The perfect reality he had crafted crumbled around him, leaving him worse off than before. Lying on his bed, staring at the empty ceiling, he whispered to himself, "I should have never tried playing God." Ironically, his phone buzzed. It was the same date on which he had first made the shift, as if reality itself was mocking him.